It's the fourth week in August, and it's time for another garden update. As you can see, we've harvested the popcorn and the glass gem corn. The glass gem corn had some pretty cool looking ears. I'll have a video up on that soon. And the way I kept them from cross-pollinating as much was I staggered the planting. And then as one type started to produce tassels, I would remove the tassels from the earlier type. And over here by the old clothesline, we have a couple of squash side by side there. That one's pretty big, and we're getting some pretty good sized squash here and there. I'm not sure how much this would weigh, but they're getting pretty good size. And then as you can see, the squash vines are trying to grow in all directions, trying to take over the garden. I'm letting them grow in a few places and then I cut them back in others. But here's where the long purple eggplant was. I cut that one and this one here back a lot, and that one didn't take it very well. It's going to die. Then I also cut back the Matoyo and the Rosita over there. We'll see how they go, but they're starting to come back pretty well with some new growth already. Finally got around to staking up that Buena Mulata, and I've got lots of crabgrass I still need to pull. Today's going to be a good day for that. There's that grafted pepper. It's a hybrid pepper with Buena Mulata and Chinese 5-color peppers on the same plant. The next to it is the fish pepper, and it's getting more and more peppers all the time. I have some spider flower here, or cleome. Got some peppers growing here. This is a volunteer pepper, by the way. This one just came up on its own. I think that's a cayenne pepper. The squash vine's growing back there. And this is Kentucky blue pole bean. This is my favorite pole bean. If you look at these small beans up the top of the vines here, it just got tons of beans. This poblano pepper, it's about chest high now, and it's still setting on peppers even up to the top. And I pinched some of the top off just to slow it down a little bit, but it's still producing a lot. Then the ghost pepper right next to it it kind of sprawls out, takes up more space, but as you can see, there's lots of peppers on it. And it's sprinkling right now, but I'm going to drive on as long as it doesn't get any harder than this. The little hops plant, it's produced a lot of cones. Some of these older ones are starting to dry up a little bit now, but it's still making new ones. And I just recently picked a bag of these and gave them to a friend who brews his own beer. It only got to about 6 feet tall, and then it started to slip down this rebar because of the weight of the cones. Got some lettuce planted in that grow bag. Used to have a tomato. That's a seed from one of my hybrid peppers. Phileas blue right here, looking really good. Fish pepper in a pot over here, getting lots of peppers on it now. The Santa Fe Grande in a pot, it's doing really well. Lots of peppers on it. That's just a good little pepper. Explosive Ember. That's a hybrid, I think. It's supposed to be a black pearl, but it's a little different than the other one that I bought. The Sangria is just loaded with peppers. Lots of color. Then we have marigolds are in full bloom here, and they're getting kind of overtaken by the squash. I need to kind of relocate some of that. I've been kind of neglecting some of my gardening for other things I have going on. Sweet potato vines down here. As you can see, they're trying to take over the yard. Fish pepper in the straw bale, doing very well. Matoyo, I trimmed it way back, harvested some eggplants off of it. I also heavily pruned the long purple, and it's starting to get some blooms on it now, so we're going to have a good crop, I think, next month on it. Let me show you this one fish pepper. Now, that foliage is so variegated in spots, and look at those peppers, kind of interesting. They're a hot pepper. And there's another one of my little hybrids. And there's an Oda. This is a straw bale you're looking at right now. You can't see it. It's buried in sweet potato vines. They're kind of trying to take over the garden. And then over here, the tomatoes. Let me see if I can see some. Well, this is the petunia in the log. I have some little, I'm kind of stomping on things. Yeah, there's some little pink tiger tomatoes. It's one of my grafts. Let me get back there and I'll show you another one that's starting to get tomatoes on it. This is a solar flare. I have a few of these starting to get ripe now, and I hope to maybe do a taste test video soon. The tomatillo's starting to get quite a bit of yellow on it. I don't know if that's normal for them or not, but we are starting to get some ones that are starting to open up. I found this one on the other plant. It's starting to get a little purple color on it. They are supposed to be a purple tomatillo. So it looks like we're going to get some anyway. Wasn't sure there for a while. This is one of the straw bales, had tomatoes in it. And I need to pull some of these little tomato seedlings that are popping up from the homemade compost. I've got some lettuce and other stuff planted in there. Some of it's starting to come up along with the tomatoes. This other straw bale, just harvested a whole bunch of eggplants off of it. It's been very productive. And then the black pearl pepper's kind of a cool looking ornamental pepper. Done very well in the straw bale, and it's kind of sprawled out now. I need to retie the eggplants since I've cut a bunch of fruit off. And some of that back in there is looking pretty rough. Still need to do some work back there. I'm going to maybe try to save some seeds on some of these can of flowers. That's why I'm letting it look like it does. Got some beets planted in there, some lettuce and other stuff coming up in the other two. Harvested the sweet potatoes. Got one very good harvest and one very bad harvest. It was just like our regular potatoes. One grow bag did very well and the other did awful. That's a pretty canna there, right next to those ugly sunflower leaves. Sunflower leaves are already mature. the heads are, and that's why it's starting to look a little rough. I need to probably cut that one down. I've been letting the birds pick the seeds off of it, and they've been really going to town on that. You can see there's still sweet potato vines over here that are alive. Those took root out of the grow bags. And there's the banana tree, and it's getting pretty tall. It's taller than I am now, quite a bit. And it's amazing how fast those pups, once they come up, it's just been a little over a month ago, and this one's already chest high. And we have that little pink banana over here. It's still growing. There it is right there. The cotton is getting bolls on it. Has some pretty flowers. This is some fennel bolting. And this is just a mess back here. I need to do some thinning out and cutting. I've been doing a little at a time as I find time. You'd think I'd have lots of time, but it seems like I don't. These peppers are getting some color on them now. Let me walk back there and see if we can get a look at the other ones. This is on the back side, a different pepper plant. It's also getting some color on it. Midnight Dreams. The Chinese 5-color pepper. It's getting lots of different colors on it now. Living up to its name. And the Buena Mulata. It's getting lots of different colors on it. Pretty cool looking. These are a hot pepper. I'm not sure if I'm going to be up to trying the hottest peppers I have. I might have to try to get a volunteer for that. But they're an attractive pepper. This time of year there's lots of stuff trying to go to seed, and this sweet basil is. And then over here we have some more sweet basil that is. This one's quite a bit taller, and it seems to be slower to bolt, so I'm going to be saving seeds from this one, I think. Some of our carrots are also starting to produce flowers, and they'll be going to seed soon. Tomato plants are kind of sprawled out into the carrots. This yacon, one thing I noticed, I don't know if there are any that I can find right now. Oh, here's the aftermath. Yeah, there's a few down here. But I've noticed that the painted lady caterpillars seem to like the yacon leaves. As you can see, this one they've pretty much skeletonized. Then I have one over there, it looks like. But that's something to look out for on the yacon. The painted lady caterpillars will eat those up if you let them. Here's a look at the cinnamon basil. It's done extremely well for us. First time I've grown cinnamon basil. It seems to be a little more aggressive in its growth habits than the sweet basil, or it has been for me anyway. This time of year is when the hummingbirds start migrating through, and we have quite a few of them that stop and visit our Rose of Sharon bush. They seem to prefer it over the feeders this year for some reason. Maybe we need a new feeder, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good time of day to take a look at the morning glories. I just about forgot to mention it, but over with these squash, I went ahead and put a few zucchini squash in the ground just to see how they would do. Usually the squash vine borers stop laying eggs around here about the 1st of September anyway, so if they can make it till then, we might get a few. Looks like I had some come up over there that I forgot about, and looks like I've already stepped on those. I think I'll wrap up this tour. That's a look at our garden. Let me know how your garden's doing. Are you still getting tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, other stuff? Let me know how it's doing. If you're just now finding this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Otherwise, like, comment, and share. It really does help, and I appreciate it all. Thanks.